hear that? Can you hear me? You don't have to yell, Tim. That's the sound of tiny little waves on this beautiful Wednesday, December 21, winter solstice. The calendar caught up with the season. This is the first time we haven't had a house-shaking, rattling wind in days. That's because there's a little tiny old cold high-pressure system. That's what I call these old cold high-pressure systems. And that's all we're dealing with is old cold. But it was just cold enough for... oh, all my friends getting the fresh snow. It started snowing Thursday night last week in New England around 8 o'clock in Connecticut. Didn't make it up to northern Vermont until Friday morning. But then it didn't really stop until this morning. Thank you, Bob and John at Sugarbush. What was that, Monday or Tuesday? I think that was Monday. Losing track of the days here. Bob had a great line. So, it's gonna be one of those, you should have been here yesterday kind of winters. Meaning that just as quickly as it gets so beautiful today, Josh at J Peak, rubbing it in. Jay came in with 29.5 inches of snow, so I was about a half inch short on my forecast from last week. Sorry about that. Just as quickly as it turns so beautiful, I hope you're out there today, tomorrow, because we got change afoot. We have record 60 below in the Northwest Territories of Canada, heading south. But that cold is headed south, not east. We have close to record warmth headed north out of Cuba and the Gulf of Mexico. And there is a clash of the titans between really heavy cold air from the North Pole and very light, juicy air from the tropics, with sort of this almost like a polar vortex crossing the Great Lakes. It is bombogenesis, with low pressure deepening from 1,002 millibars Thursday evening to 969 millibars on Friday evening in Ontario. And when storms go to Ontario, the warm air and the southerly wind comes into New England. It's not going to last that long, but it's pretty intense. Let's take Lincoln, New Hampshire, for example. A nice central place here in the Northeast. The snow that comes in Thursday night changes to rain first thing on Friday morning. It rains most of the day, and the temperature gets into the 40s, and then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, rain changes back to snow, and by the next morning, temperatures in the teens. This should be very interesting, shouldn't it? And the wind, oh yes, the wind, even at lower elevations, may be gusting past 70 miles an hour from the south, as you have such a strong gradient between a little bit of a high pressure system in eastern Canada, but the deep low pressure, what is wind? Air moving from high to low pressure. And then the cold on the backside shouldn't be quite as bad. It looks like around New York and southern Ontario, the wind may be 70 to 80 miles an hour coming off the Great Lakes on Saturday with snow. In the New England mountains, there may be some upslope snow, but it's going to be a flash refreeze. It's not looking like very fun weather here Friday or Saturday, but it gets a lot better with the wind releasing on Sunday. The problem with the atmosphere is that North Atlantic block that is usually very helpful started last week when that weak clipper that came through on Sunday the 11th came and it bombed out and backed into Newfoundland, and that eroded the cold that was supposed to be in eastern Canada, and that storm that was the blizzard last week in the northern plains, that stalled over the Great Lakes and went north into Hudson Bay. That created sort of the wrong kind of blocking. It blocked all that cold air from coming in here, and it's actually not going to come in until it comes in from the southwest over the weekend. And then, according to the Euro, there may be a system missing us to the south on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, sure. That somehow will turn to the north and may end up as rain or snow. Snow or rain next Tuesday, Wednesday. But overall, there's some nice weather before the storm, after the storm, and then by next weekend, you don't even really want to see the forecast. We just cannot seem to go through a Christmas, New Year's cycle without some kind of good snow, major wind and rain, and an Arctic blast with a refreeze. And that looks like it's going to be the case again this year. But winter's early. I mean, I've gone only 3 days, and that was 3 weeks ago, so I missed this. You're not alone if you missed it. Like Bob Hennessey, Mountain Wrecking Crew, says, You should have been here yesterday. We'll see you on the slopes. Oh, by the way, this is Boston Harbor. Not a breath of wind. This is very unusual.
Yahoo!
Oh my god, that was the most untracked epic run in a long time.
That was the right call.